So I've been getting a few DMs in the comment section about the Sigma 18-50mm f2.8. Questions like whether or not you should get the Sigma or the Fujifilm XF16-55mm f2.8. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Iamtongue, and today I just want to talk about the Sigma 18-50mm f2.8. I'm just going to give you a little update. Let's call this a 2-week review. I've been using this lens to explore around town, using it as a travel lens, as a documentation lens around the neighborhood, around town here in Portugal. Trying to capture stuff, just trying to capture life stuff. And, for my two-week updates, I kind of like it. Now, I used to own the 16-55mm, but I sold it. There was nothing wrong with it. That lens is a workhorse. It was the lens that I used for my client's shoot. It's very versatile from 16 to 55mm. That is the equivalent of a standard 24 to 70mm full frame equivalent. Now, I love that lens. That image quality is absolutely insane, and it has a unique look to it. It was my first lens that I've ever purchased from when I got into the Fujifilm system. The Sigma 18-50mm f2.8 is the new kid on the block. It's cheaper, it's a constant f2.8, and it's not the exact focal length. It's losing 5mm on the long end and 2mm on the wide end. But for the price, this is going to be more of a viable option for most people. I think the 16 to 55mm has a far superior image quality than the Sigma. And that thing is crazy sharp from 16mm all the way to 55. People have said having this lens is like having 5 prime lenses in a zoom, and I would agree. I've heard people say that the 16 to 55mm f2.8 does not resolve as well with the new 40 megapixel sensor that you see in the XH2 and the XT5. My guess is a refresh of this lens is due. There is a unique look to the 16 to 55 lens. It has this cool steel look that I really like. I've taken a lot of images with this lens, like a lot, and I absolutely love it. The 18 to 50mm I've used for the past 2 weeks, and I like it. It has decent sharpness and it gets the job done. There are some chromatic aberrations that I'm seeing whenever I shoot at high contrast situations. This is me shooting with the XH2 and its 40 megapixel sensor. I did notice a fair amount of chromatic aberrations, a lot more than I am used to. I also tried checking for chromatic aberrations on the XH2S since it has a 26 megapixel sensor. It was hard to tell on a 26 megapixel. It's only when I pixel peep at 400 that I see a slight tinge of fringing on the XH2S. But that's all I'm going to say about that until I spend more time with it and report back with a full review. So make sure to subscribe so you can be notified of when that video drops. But other than that, the Sigma lens is sharp, I would say. I'm having fun with this lens. I would say that it's not as sharp as the 16 to 55mm, but I mean, it's decent enough. Like, how much sharper do you want like a lens to be? I think it will be enough for most users, but I can tell you this now, that this Sigma 18 to 50 is sharper than the XF 18 to 120mm f4 power zoom, in which the preview named it the worst lens of 2022. Rest in peace, the preview. The autofocusing on the Sigma still feels a step slow when it comes to photos. I've seen this across all Sigma lenses that I've owned for different mounts. It's never as quick as the native lenses, so keep that in mind. But the time I had with it, I tried the Bird AF, I tried the plain AF, and it seemed to do just fine. The autofocus for the 16 to 55mm red badge zoom lens is great. It's quick and snappy. I've yet used it on the newer generation cameras such as the XH2S and the XH2 and the XT5, so I cannot comment about that. But when I was using it on my XT3 and the XT4, I find it to be quick and snappy like Fuji lenses should. Let's get on with the build. That's where you're going to see and feel the difference. The 16 to 55mm feels premium. It has a lot of glass inside and a lot more heft than the Sigma. The Sigma is so much lighter than the 16 to 55 that, your hands, your knees, and your back will thank you in the long run if you guys go on long hikes and stuff like that. The one thing that the Sigma doesn't have, and it may piss some of the Fuji users off, is an aperture ring. If you guys can't live without an aperture ring, then I'm sorry guys, but this Sigma lens is not for you. And you guys can rest easy knowing that these two lenses have weather resistant inside. The 16 to 55 comes in at $1,200 and the Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8 comes in at $549. That's a difference of $650, man. You can use that money to buy like a second body or a second lens instead of buying the $1,200 lens. So that's just freaking crazy. If you're a working professional, get the 16-55mm f2.8. It's an amazing piece of glass. The image quality taken with this lens is outstanding, but it's a bit heavy for folks who are used to like the small, tiny f2 prime lenses that Fuji makes. And for everyone else who cannot justify paying that $1,200 price tag, this Sigma is the next best option. You're getting a constant f2.8, and I also forgot to mention that this lens has incredible close focusing distance, which also makes this lens a macro lens of sort. So combine the f2.8 with the close focus, you get some very nice bokeh, you get some blurry background if you guys are into like that tone, that background blur. It's there. And what I really like and really appreciate is the small form factor from the Sigma 18-50mm. It's just so tiny. Like, I really do appreciate how small and compact this lens is over the past 2 weeks. Like, it's just been so refreshing. Just taking this one lens and just using it as a photo lens and as a video lens. Before, I would take like multiple lenses to do that, right? I have the power zoom lens in my bag, and if I wanted video, I would put that on. If I wanted to take photos, I would take that off and put in something a little bit faster for bokeh or for like a better image quality and better sharpness. But yeah, I was walking around town here with my XH2S and the Sigma, and it was just like a pleasant experience. It takes up less footprint compared to my 18-120mm power zoom, and I was able to look more inconspicuous because of it, and I really appreciate that too. Like going for hikes here has been a pleasant experience, because before I would need to make a decision whether or not I need to take my camera out with the 18-120 power zoom lens, taking one lens out and switching it for another, and then putting it back in my backpack so then I can go for hikes again, and all this just takes time. With the Sigma, I can hold my camera with this lens and have no issues, like zero issues. I have like no hand fatigue, and I don't even have to think whether or not I need to take out this camera, if this was the right moment or not. I just feel like, you know, when it's on me, I can just turn on the camera right away, snap a picture, and I got it. No more being reluctant and no more like being hesitant whether or not I should make a decision if this is the perfect moment to snap a picture. And then pairing this lens on like a smaller body like the XS10 or the XE4, this combo is such a perfect travel companion. And that's something that I value because I can capture more moments because of that. It takes good images, decent bokeh, decent sharpness, the price is good. Overall, a great value lens. And if you are interested in these two lenses, links to them are down below. So my question to you is, what would you rather get, the Sigma 18-50 or the XF 16-55mm f2.8? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you find this video valuable in any way, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate your support. And as always, my name is Tongue. I'll see you in the next video. I love you.